future's now, old man.
What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Commander Rio checking in with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio Robinson YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today is Thursday, June 30th, the last day of June. We're 4 weeks away from the start of Washington Commanders NFL training camp, and it's getting real, man. Like, just I'm gonna try to push out as much content as possible to help get y'all through these rough dog days of summer where there's not much going on sports wise. We had some big news this week. We got our guy Terry McLaurin locked in, long-term, 3-year, $71 million contract, $28 million signing bonus, and you couldn't think of a more deserving player for that contract extension. But today we're going to talk about the future. The future is now for the team as we enter year 3 of Ron Rivera regime, an era, the culture change era of the Washington Commanders, formerly football team, and Redskins. But before we get to the topic of today's video, every video that you see on the channel is brought to you by at WSH on the Daily, at Washington on the Daily on Instagram. My boy Ray Pereira. Everything he does on his channel is to uplift, put a spotlight on, and keep the fans of the Commanders fan base posted, up to date, and involved and included. Make sure you give my guy a follow at Washington on the Daily on Instagram. And if you're going to do your sports betting, do it with BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Top left corner of the overlay. Using my unique link in the description below. Get your Calvin Ridley Parlay Poppy on, using code JOIN125 upon your first deposit. And one more shout out to my guy, Cameron Wallace Designs on Instagram. He's the one that puts together these immaculate ass thumbnails for me. The artwork is top tier, and I appreciate everything he's done for the growth of my channel. If you need thumbnails made for yours, make sure you hit up my guy, Cameron Wallace Designs on Instagram. But yeah, man, we're 4 weeks away from training camp. We locked up Terry. Leno got an extension this offseason. We had another good draft on paper. Knock, knock. Let's hope it stays that way. But today, I'm talking about the future of the offense of the Washington Commanders. It feels like for the first time in a very long time, there's general optimism and a plan on offense. And the plan doesn't involve any elder statesmen. We don't really have any age on our offense. I think 30, 31 is the oldest age on our offense. We look at the quarterback room. Heineke and Wentz are pushing 30. Sam Howell is 22. We look at the running back room. Gibson, Robinson, McKissick's on the latter side of his 20s, but the offensive line, our bookend left tackle, who we just extended this offseason, Charles Leno, 30 years old, Trey Turner, Norwell, 30, Chase Rouye still in his 20s, Sam Cosmi, second year tackle, young boys all across the lineup in that receiver room. Terry is the elder statesman. He's the vet in our receiver room. Terry's 26. He's going to hit the market again in 3 years. Well, through the 2025 season, so 4 years. He's going to hit the market again at 30 years old. You love to see it. 2012, we had optimism with RG3 and Morris, but if we're going to be real with ourselves, the offense and the scheme that Kyle Shanahan drew up, the absolute sorcery that RG3 was doing to defenses in that scheme, and how RG3's impact opened lanes and opportunities for Alfred Morris. That's all. They're really all we had on offense that year. You know, Santana was at the very ending stage. He was at the swan song stage of his career. He was catching touchdowns, but he wasn't a volume guy at the time. But that offense was predicated around two guys. We literally have young talent in every room on the offensive side of the ball. And we're not up there in age. We're finally one of the younger teams in the league. We're finally drafting and developing guys. I'm looking at the wide receiver room specific. Oh, the tight end room as well. Logan Thomas is the vet in the room, coming off an ACL tear. He's probably going to start the season on the pup, but we're good. John Bates, our last year's 5th round pick out of Boise State. We thought he was just going to be another Jeremy Sprinkle, hand in the dirt, fill-in type of guy. He showed some wiggle. He showed the ability to have natural hands, and he looked like a natural tight end out there. We drafted this kid out of Nevada, Cole Turner. Looks like a fucking superhero in a uniform with the long curly locks coming out the helmet. We have young talent in every position room, man. So we got Logan, Cole Turner, and John Bates in the tight end room. The receiving room, the starting lineup. Terry McLaurin, 26. Curtis Samuel, 25. Jahan Dotson, 22. De'Ami Brown, 23. It's young all across the board. Cam Sims been in the league, it feels like forever. He's only 26 years old. Dax Milne, a youngin'. We got young boys all across the roster, and we still have the question marks about Antonio Gandy Golden catching on as a possible tight end, and Kelvin Harmon possibly squeaking out if we keep 7 receivers. All young nucleus, and you love to see it. Like a genuine future to look forward to. You know, in the NBA and the NFL, you can get stuck in this purgatory where you're building for the future for a decade or two, and you're just never going to see any relative success. But right now, we're in a position to seize contention while developing young players. And Ron does not mind playing young players. That's why the roster, he's purged the roster and filled it with an influx of young talent. So it's time to deliver. The future is now, but the future is also bright. All these young boys, man. And Terry leading that receiver room. Jahan Dotson in year 2 of De'Ami, which I'm about to do a video on, so I'm not going to talk too much about De'Ami on this video. It's only been OTAs and minicamp so far, but Jahan Dotson looks every bit of the part of a starting NFL receiver who's going to make an immediate impact. My boy Marshall in the group chat likes to call him Baby Deontay Johnson. If we can get an immediate Deontay Johnson from the Steelers type impact from Jahan, this offense is going to be booming. Keep letting them sleep on us. We need to earn the respect of media pundits nationwide, talking heads. We're going to be the butt of jokes until we change the culture. Winning cures all in this sports world. Sadly, it cures things that it should not cure because there are some things that are just completely unacceptable. But for right now, winning would cure almost everything for this team right now because they've already purged they did a whole cleanse of all the toxic shit in the organization when Ron and Jason Wright were hired here. But I really love what we're doing with the offense, and I may be in the minority here in the fan base. I believe in Scott Turner. I think he's a great offensive mind. I think he can be repetitive on third down, and he doesn't always. I think the biggest issue is he hasn't had a quarterback to work with yet. I think Carson Wentz is going to open up a whole side of the playbook that we haven't seen yet. Just some of the stuff I've seen when we were out there at OTAs excited the hell out of me, made the hairs raise on my arm a little bit. Scott about to get in his duffel this year. I just can't stop talking about all this young talent we have on this offensive room and offensive group right now. Antonio Gibson still hitting his stride. I don't believe in paying running back. So when his contract's up, Brian Robinson, your name's gonna be called. You know, kinfolk, Brian Robinson, Rio Robinson. You know, he's probably a cousin of mine. Probably see him at a family reunion one day. Bell cow, natural hands out of the backfield. Even Jarrett Patterson, undersized bowling ball, Maurice Jones-Drew style running back. We have young talent all over this offense. I cannot say it enough. Keep sleeping on us. We were only favored to win 4 out of our first 15 games on Vegas lines this year. Please soak in that, guys. Put that shit up on the bulletin board. Throw rocks at it like you did last year when we were on our little winning streak. Let them sleep. The offensive line, Sam Cosmi, if it wasn't for injury, he was the best rookie we had last year at right tackle. So we're looking at 2 bookends at tackle. Charles Leno, 30 is not old for a left tackle. Sam Cosmi, 24, 25, 24 years old. We got youth everywhere. And if we can get anything, even the smallest amount of return on investment or production out of Keith Ishmael and Sadiq Charles, then, like, what can I tell you? We have young players at every position on the offensive side. And to conclude the talk of the young players is someone that we're not even really talking about that much, which is music to my ears, because I do not want to hear about the conundrum or the problem of a quarterback controversy, because it doesn't exist. Sam Howell, our 5th round selection, first pick of the 5th round quarterback out of UNC. We haven't heard much about him. He's looked good in camp. You know, he's not coming in as this raw, unrefined prospect. He's coming in as a guy who's already pro ready, has a live arm, and if we just let him bake, everything goes according to plan. Carson stays healthy. Heineke is an adamant backup. Sam Howell is going to compete for the backup job probably almost immediately, but we have potentially the quarterback of the future, and we spent a 5th round pick on him. I cannot wait to see how this turns out, but man, I'm excited, man. Just imagine like 5 years from now, we're in our new Superdome in either Virginia or Maryland. We don't know at this point because nobody wants to do business with the dweeb ass owner of ours. You know, we could have an offense of Sam Howell, Brian Robinson Jr. at running back, Terry Dotson, Diami out there at receiver, maybe Curtis Samuel if he's still around. We'll see. Cole Turner and John Bates at tight end. Cosmi either at right tackle or kicked over to be the starting bookend left tackle. Chase Rouillet still running things at the center. Man, I have high hopes and real belief in the young nucleus that this team has put together for our offensive side of the ball. I have a video about the defense, but y'all already know the vibes on the defense, bro. We have 1,000 first-round picks in the front 7. It's time for them to produce. Like my boy Pascal said, it's time to put the emphasis on the offense, and I think we've done a good job of doing so. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Take command. Deuces.